Spacey Sims, and we're back with more Taisho Alice, and we're in Snow's Route, obviously, still, because we just started. This is only the second part. But yeah, anyway, we're just going to continue where we left off. I don't know why I'm being so, like, overly dramatic. Apparently, I had crack flakes for breakfast, or lunch, or whatever the fuck. You know what? Let's just forget I said anything. Hey guys, we're back. Yada yada, that kind of shit. Okay, are we good? We're good. So, before I knew it, the sun had set and night had fallen. This game makes me, like, loopy, I guess. I don't know. I just am. I need to eat something? Maybe that's it. Oh. Before I knew it, the sun had set and night had fallen. Why isn't that clicking? Okay. It was just past 9 p.m. We'd all eaten our dinner, completed our prep work for tomorrow, and gone back to our rooms. I crept out into the hallway, careful not to make a sound. Slowly, I snuck down the stairs toward the front door. And where do you think you're going? Huh? Then, there I found Red waiting for me. I was just going to take the trash out. This was the excuse I had prepared in advance. I already handled that earlier. He had seen right through me. Knowing you, I imagine you're planning to go into the forest to see your Prince Charming, aren't you? He sighed in frustration. All right, that's what I wanted to... Okay, I knew what I knew, because it's... Okay. Yes, this is Lupin. And Cinderella was... Saint Germain. Yeah. Right. We've been... That's what I thought, but... Also... Snow White is Shota Aoi, who, by the way, if you have never seen this man, just go Google him right now. Just pause. Go Google him. Or just leave this up. Go Google him right now. Just, okay. Okay. And tell me he's not the most beautiful fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. Just the most beautiful human being. And, like, preferably go on Pinterest and find the pictures of him dressed like a mermaid. Because I might be gay now. I don't know. Because, like, he looks beautiful in drag. Like, Look, I might joke around how men look better in dresses and, like, when they're in drag than I do, but, like, he is what? No. That's, like, physically impossible. That is, like, breaking the rules of, like, everything. But, like, there are, like, men that are, like, beautiful men. Like, I like looking at them, yes. And then there are, like, you are, like, a work of fucking art, and it should be illegal to be as beautiful as you are. And he is that. I don't know. Like, I'm just stumped. What are you doing, Bird? But anyway, I wanted to say that, and I was like, yes, we need to make sure to bring this up, but the pictures of him when he's, like, dressed like a girl, or, like, when he's in his beautiful mergirl form, I don't know. Like, let's just leave it there, because I don't have words to describe how confused I get. What? So anyway, there's that. So let's keep going. He sighed in frustration. You know your chances of finding him there are abysmally low, but you can't bear to just sit around and wait, so you feel compelled to take action for your own sanity, right? He had seen right through me. Part 2. Bingo! Grimacing, I shot him the finger guns. Yeah, love that. Spare me your bingo. I've warned you again and again about the dangers of the forest at night, so why do you insist on going? You know what's actually funny about this? We give Cinderella the Lupin kind of voice treatment, but Red Riding Hood is Red Riding Hood just doesn't have the flair for the Lupin voice. You know what I mean? But it's kind of funny anyway. His sharp glare made me flinch. I'm sure we've mentioned that in every single freaking game that we've played, those two. But, like, I remember it in the first one we did, but anyway. After a long moment wherein we glared daggers at each other, figuratively. I'm sorry, I'll go back to my room. I trudged back the way I came. Wait. Huh? Glancing back over my shoulder, I found Red scowling sulkily. I'll go with you. You'll be safer traveling with someone who knows those woods. You don't mind? I stared back, stunned by the unexpected offer. Oh, I most certainly mind, but it hurts to see you so depressed. As he spoke, he adjusted his riding hood. This was his little nervous tick that he did whenever he was embarrassed, and he never takes it off, otherwise we'd see his little wolfy ears. But I kept walking. Spacey. I made it to the third stair, then I turned around. Oh, Red, you're my favoriteest brother in the whole world! And threw myself onto him. Don't cling all over me. I knew I could always count on my brothers. I can't, it's a little weird. Okay. Like, one, it's a little weird that Gretel's like, sister was supposed to be my wife. Creepy. But also, Red still has like the, oh my god, oh god, girls, and we're his sister. He shouldn't feel that way. Like, I hate to tell you this, but like, your sister is not a girl. I mean, your sister is a girl, but like, not a girl. You know what I mean? You're not like, girls get me all flustered, and then your sister does not get you flustered. You're like, what? She's my sister. What the fuck? It's like siblings are a different species than, you know, other men and women. You know what I mean? They're like different. You know, it's like a male cat and a male dog are different. Like sisters and chicks, different. Like girls might make you like, oh my god, awkward, but your sister shouldn't. You should be like, what? She's my sister. Like there's nothing, you know? So this is a little awkward. That's all I'm saying. Like, game, you make me feel a little awkward. And anyway, we're going to keep going and we're going to enjoy it. But I just wanted to say that because it's a little awkward, you know. It's slightly disturbing, but in a way you're like, I enjoy this game so much. Slightly disturbed. And I'm a little disturbed at how much I enjoy it while being disturbed. Like, you know? Okay, Gretel, you're my brother. And you threw, okay, that he was like your half brother, like your step brother or something. It wasn't like real brother. And this, though, Red, you're like supposed to be like, I think my full brother. And you're getting all weirded out when I touch you. You know what? I'm not going to ask questions. We're just going to keep going. You're like, there's some kind of weird fanfic going on here. Anyway. Follow along behind me, please. And watch your step because the footing is poor. Got it. Carrying a lantern, Red illuminated the path. Kind of spooky in here, isn't it? I glanced around as I spoke. Unsurprisingly, the forest proved to be pitch black and would have been practically untraversable without a light source. Not only that, but with all the animal noises and rustling sounds, it was giving off a total horror movie vibe. See? I told you these woods were dangerous. Well, good thing I've got you with me. I clutched the hem of his riding hood. Good grief. And he's blushing. But I could tell from his tone he was pleased to hear it. Deep down, Red just likes to feel needed. That reminds me, Spacey. You must be cold in that attire. Shall I lend you my riding hood? What? Really? You sure? This was Red Riding Hood we were talking about. His riding hood was his trademark thing. If I took it away from him, he'd just be a generic pretty boy. I don't mind. I wouldn't want my little sister to get pneumonia. And so my brother pulled off his riding hood. Psych! Good thing I brought a spare. He pulled another hood out of his wicker basket and draped it around my shoulders. Of course he wouldn't take his off, then we'd see his wolfy ears and we probably don't know he has them. Thanks. I was kind of hoping to get a rare glimpse of hoodless Red, so I was a tiny bit disappointed. And this is where the fanfic spirals off into creepy territory and she tries to get a peek at him in the shower and then, like, weird inappropriate things happen. I just know how this game goes. Okay, I just know the shit that the shenanigans this game gets up to, and our youngest brother wants to lock us in a cage and do horrible things to us. But then we also want to do horrible things to him because we were a little sadistic in that too. I mean, I'm just saying. Like, creepy things happen in this game. I love it so much, but there's so many wrong things. You're like, I feel like this game just... I need therapy after this game. I have to wonder what your Prince Charming was doing out here in the woods when you encountered him. Beats me. Maybe he was trying to get home before dark, same as me. I answered from beneath my hood. Then perhaps he lives in the area. Gosh, I hope so. Worst case scenario, he was a tourist who lived far away. So what does he look like anyway? Very white. White, you say? Yeah, white skin, white hair, white clothes, slim build, and a face so perfect it was practically sculpted by God himself. The memory of his handsome features made me giggle dreamily. Is there any chance he was simply a ghost? What? I blinked. I just don't think any normal person would go wandering through the woods dressed all in white. I'm literally wearing all white right now. I pinched the hem of my dress and held it up. Yes, well, you are not normal. Red shrugged and kept walking. Well, then maybe he is not normal, and then he is perfect for me, because neither one of us is normal. And that's great. Besides, everyone knows only ghosts are pure white. He's not a ghost. He helped untangle me from a tree branch. Was he floating in midair? No. Just then, one of the nearby shrubs started to rustle, and a dark figure dashed out. Ah! My scream echoed throughout the quiet forest. It was a rabbit. After a moment of silence, Red snickered. Don't worry, it was just a fox. We get a lot of them in the area. Oh, just a fox. I'm surprised a tomboy like you actually had some feminine sensibilities. Ouch. Tomboys scream too, you know. Now do you understand how frightening the forest can be? And this time it was just a fox, but next time it could be a criminal or a sex pervert. Like Gretel. That said, you probably don't have to worry about ghosts. As he smugly lectured me, there was a rustling sound, and a white figure appeared in the darkness. It's you. It's him! The ghost! I'm sorry. The ghost! This game is so much fun to fucking read. Red and I both started screaming, our cries overlapping in the night. Quiet. Scrunching up his handsome features, the beautiful young man covered his ears. White hair, white skin, white clothes. His appearance was evocative of an angel or a snow sprite. He was, without a doubt, my Prince Charming! I recognize you. He looked at me, his eyes widening slightly. Oh God, am I ugly? I don't have a mirror on me. You're the girl who You're the girl who face planted on the ground out here, right? I slumped my shoulders. No, well, kind of? I definitely fell, but I didn't face plant. The hippie tree hugger girl? I didn't hug any trees. If anything, the tree hugged me. Anyway, my name is Spacey Arisu. Thanks again for helping me yesterday. Arisu. I couldn't let this conversation go around in circles, so I took the initiative and introduced myself. Cool. He muttered curtly and looked away. End of conversation. Granted, I wasn't expecting him to be very chatty, given our previous interaction, but still. Could he at least respond with something? Either way, it was too early to give up just yet. I needed to keep the conversation going. How will you keep it going? Ask him for his name. I mean, what are you doing here is something I really want the answer to, but it's not the right answer, so. Could I ask you for your name, if you wouldn't mind? No. Rejected in less than a second. What do you mean, no? In that instant, all of my hopes and dreams were destroyed. As I stood there, perplexed, he glanced over at me. Snow White. What? My name is Snow White. Snowwwhite. Snow White! What a perfect name for a prince! This was all it took to breathe life back into my shattered heart. The name Snow White fits his aesthetic to a T. Clearly his mom was a genius. Prince? Unfortunately, he was more interested in the minor details. Oh, it's a nickname I used to refer to you. I answered hesitantly as he fixed me with a dubious look. With that, he looked away. Does it bother you? Knock yourself out. Yay! Permission obtained! Who's he? Prince Charming's gaze drifted behind me to Red. This is my older brother. Your brother? He blinked in surprise. Nice to meet you. My name's Red Riding Hood, and I'm Spacey's brother. Red inclined his head politely, his hood hanging low over his eyes, almost like he was pointedly avoiding eye contact. What's wrong, Red? Oh, nothing. It's like Snow White just looks like a girl and I'm embarrassed. He stammered awkwardly. Something was definitely off about him. It was just kind of expecting your Prince Charming to be a man. Gah! No, not manga. The last part was the sound he made after Prince Charming silenced him. By which I mean he took his book and flung it at my brother's head. I told you. He thinks that Snow White's so pretty he's a girl. His pitch was so flawless it took my breath away. Gah! The sound snapped me back to reality. Red? I hastily ran over to him, but it was too late. He was unconscious. Well, holding my brother in my arms, I looked up at Prince Charming. He stared down coldly at his victim. Yeep! His gaze was so icy I nearly froze over. I am a man. His voice was ice cold, too. Yeah, I know, obviously. Intimidated, I nodded eagerly. Adisu. Yes? What is it, Prince? I straightened up sharply. Grab that book for me. Yes, Your Highness. Like a servant, I picked up the book off the ground and handed it back to him. Thanks. The chill in the air faded away. No problem. There was a long moment of silence, and then he turned and started walking away. Wait, where are you going? Is it any of your business? Nope. Well, will I see you again? I called after him desperately. We've only just been reunited. I don't want to lose him again. We'll kidnap him. Duh. We'll be doing these things, right? Wait, I mean, men usually kidnap us. Can we kidnap one of them? Oh, just saying. We've got 4 at home. So we just need to pick the other ones up, and then we got the man harem. I'm just saying. A good question. I'd say it's up to you. He replied without even looking back. What does that mean? I work at the cafe, and I live there too. Mirror, mirror on the wall, show me what I want to see. Tell me what I want to hear. I'm assuming this is Snow White because it's got the white border, and like usually when we go into their perspectives, the like border kind of changes. So I'm just going to read it like him. So, after we moved to the Looking Glass world, going to the lake became part of my daily schedule. And the lake was situated within a primeval forest with water so clear it reflected the trees upside down like a mirror. Almost as though an upside-down world was trapped just beneath the surface, and I loved to gaze out at it. If I reached out to it, could I pass through to the other side? I thought about her. I had a feeling I would see her again at some point, but I wasn't expecting it to come so soon. The encounter thrilled me, and when we parted ways, it left a hole in my heart. I never imagined she would make me feel this way. But still, some questions remained. She was out walking through the dark forest with a man in a Red Riding Hood who she claimed was her brother, but why? And why was she dressed like that? When our eyes met, her whole face lit up. Was she looking for me specifically? The possibility warmed my heart. Right from the moment I first laid eyes on her, I thought she was utterly adorable. Porcelain skin, a pure white dress, soft, thick, light brown hair. Her hair always looks more blonde in the pictures, but... and those red and blue eyes. They sparkled like gems. If my mother saw her, I just know she'd give her a big hug and say, "You look like a princess." When I returned to my home in the shadowy forest, I heard a voice calling for me. You know what's funny? This was our house. Snow White! Snow White! Where are you? It was my mother. Evidently she was looking for me. I'm right here, Mother. As I revealed myself, she let out a sigh of relief. Was she another one? Because I feel like she looks familiar. Oh, thank goodness! I was worried about you. Where were you? She pulled me into a tight hug. I could have just been honest and told her I was at the lake. But instead, what left my lips was an apology. I'm sorry. Deep down, I was scared that she would pull away from me, and that she would abandon me. Nothing frightened me more than the thought of infuriating her to the point that she threw me out. You know you're not supposed to go outside. Didn't you promise me you wouldn't? It's dangerous out there. She frowned sadly as she scolded me. My heart ached unbearably at the thought that I'd made my beloved mother worry. I'm sorry. Don't tell me. Did you go by yourself to the lake again? He's like, no, yet. There was a pause, and then she drew her hand to my face. Did she slap him? Thinking she would hit me, I flinched, but she simply stroked my cheek. Okay, I was like, we didn't hear a slap noise. You're the cutest, most adorable child in all the land. That's why you mustn't go outside. You have to understand. It's for your own good. The world is filled with wicked wolves. A sweet, innocent soul like you would be torn apart in seconds, especially by our brother who is a wolf. And then there's Wolf, who could be a wolf. And then there's the huntsman, who is our brother, but, like, isn't. But, like, I don't know. I know, Mother. Indeed, I knew. I knew exactly how sinful it was to disobey her. Ah, Snow White is so dreamy. The next day, while working at the cafe, I sighed like a girl smitten. Like? You are. Which is to say, I was quite literally smitten with him, and there we go. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my prince's beautiful face. Snow White. Snow White? I snapped back to my senses to find Gretel scowling at me. I feel like Gretel and Snow White sound too much alike, but, like, whatever. Gretel, a.k.a. Clingy Brother Number 1. If he knew I was meeting up with my prince, he might try to lock me up inside the house. Or in a hot cabin in the woods with a cage. No, I said, donut bites. Donut bites sure are good, aren't they? Donut bites! It felt like a pretty flimsy cover, but fortunately for me, Gretel the dessert lover latched onto it immediately. Yes, I completely agree. I love donut bites. Their airy, fluttery texture, their small round shape and golden color, but most of all, that light, elegant sweetness. Donut bites are the perfect dessert that can work with any flavor combination. Truly the baby's breath in the dessert bouquet. Only a true connoisseur can appreciate the depth of donut bites. You never cease to amaze me, sister. You think so? As Gretel rambled at me with his eyes sparkling, I struggled to think of a response. I know. I'll make raspberry-filled donut bites for our next dessert. Or maybe custard. Any requests, sister? For dessert? Let me think. Honestly, I'm kind of in the mood for snow cones. Snow cones made me think of snow, and snow made me think of Snow White. Then again, I guess it'd be silly to eat snow cones in winter. I shook my head at myself. However, I beg to differ. Winter is the perfect season for snow cones. Ice-cold snow cones in a warm, toasty house, the very pinnacle of luxury. I have nothing but respect for you, sister. Your taste is flawless. This only seemed to excite him more. I'm pretty sure we could literally say we wanted to eat dirt and he would be excited by it. You think so? I do indeed. Evidently, the King of Sweets had a lot to say regarding seasonal desserts. Yes, I've just had an epiphany. And now then, sister. What's up? I've just thought of a new recipe, so I'll need you to leave the kitchen for a while. What? He flashed me his most charming smile. Go on now, hurry. Once it's ready, you'll be the first to taste it. Huh, what? But the cafe! I didn't even have time to come up with a counter-argument before he pushed me bodily from the room. Don't worry, if anyone orders anything, just give them a damn... Wait, what? Dump a cup of rip-off $10 tea over... Wait. And don't worry, if anyone orders anything, just give them a dump a cup of rip-off $10 tea over Kaguya's head voucher for their trouble, and I'm sure they'll be satisfied. I knew that tea was a rip-off. He ignored me and shut the door in my face. Ugh, good grief. I let out a big melodramatic sigh and slumped my shoulders. The demon of sweets was just as passionate about making sweets as he was about eating them. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but he had this one little quirk. He refused to let anyone watch him make them. He refused to let anyone watch him make them. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to read. At one point, the rest of the family debated whether he was lacing them with drugs, but they still tasted amazing, so we decided not to worry about it. I see you're working hard. Just then I made eye contact with Red as he returned from his shopping trip. Welcome home! The kitchen's off limits at the moment. I know. He set his wicker basket on the floor. Did you need something? He squinted at me dubiously as I stared at him. Hey, big brother? No. I didn't even ask yet! I pouted. I already know what you're gonna say. You want me to escort you into the woods so you can meet with your prince, correct? Actually, I was gonna ask if I could go by myself this time. Absolutely not! He glared at me sharply. How many times must I tell you? The forest is dangerous at night. What if something happened to you? Okay then, will you come with me? Well... He stumbled over his words. My point is, the answer is no, and that's final. How come? Well... You came with me last time, didn't you? Sensing an opening, I started to press him. He pursed his lips and fell silent. And unless I was seeing things, he was looking a little pale. Can't we just swing by? No, we cannot. Even just for a few minutes? Not even for a few minutes. Fine. At this, Red smiled in relief. Thank you for understanding. You're a good girl. Oh yeah? Then where's my head pat? With an innocent grin, I spread my arms wide and awaited my reward. Whenever Kaguya called me a good girl, he always stroked my hair until I melted. Not happening. I clucked my tongue in frustration. That being said, fine was not the same thing as I promise I won't go. Sorry, Red. I know you're worried about me, but I'm not going to get my Prince Charming if I just sit around at home like a good girl. I'm not going to get laid if I just sit around at home like a good girl. I mean, that's seriously what it sounds like she's saying. It's so fucking funny. And so that night, I snuck out to the forest. You'd think he'd have been sitting awake. Waiting. Oh! After nearly an hour of searching, I found a lone figure sitting on the lake pier. Now then. Internally, I was overjoyed to have found him again, but I decided to play it cool and keep my composure. Good evening. Just then, he started to lean toward the lake. No! I don't want to scream really loudly. Huh? Don't do it, Prince! I dashed over to him, seized him by the scruff of the neck, and hauled him back up. Ah! The momentum sent me tumbling backwards onto my rear, but I didn't care. Sure, winter had only just set in, but the weather was still cold, especially at night. Jumping into the lake was practically a death sentence. Ow, 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 ow! Oh, God, are you okay? My prince lay on his back near my feet. Almost like an impromptu lap pillow scene. Hallelujah! I mean, you're choking me by the collar, but other than that... Oh, I'm sorry! Hastily, I relinquished my grip. Newly freed, he rose to his feet. Are you hurt? As he spoke, he offered me his hand. No, I'm okay. I took it and was startled to find it ice cold. Not only that, but he was much stronger than I was expecting him to be, given his scrawny arms. Thank you. Apparently, he was more masculine than I thought. My heart fluttered. Wait, what am I doing? I was so busy reveling in my own personal shoujo manga, I nearly forgot the main issue here. It's not safe to swim in the lake at night. Who are you referring to? You, obviously. He averted his gaze and sighed. Dude, I wasn't gonna. I was just looking at the water. He's like, no, I was gonna drown myself. It's different. I'm just kidding. What? I'll show you. Whoa! He dragged me by the hand to the edge of the pier. Together we peered down. See? I was looking at the world and the reflection. The moonlight was bright tonight, illuminating our silhouettes in the rippling water. Oh, I see. In other words, I had jumped to conclusions. Well, it's definitely pretty. I attempted to gloss over my mistake. In the water, for a fleeting moment, I saw a hint of grief in his expression. Is something wrong? I sat up and looked at him. Not really. He answered without looking at me. Had I upset him? Listen, I'm sorry for hassling you over this misunderstanding. If I'd angered him, then he deserved an apology. It's fine. You didn't know any better. Oh, Prince Charming! Touched, I nearly leapt into his arms, but managed to stop myself. Anyway, we meet again, it seems. His thick eyelashes fluttered as he spoke. Yeah, I beamed. Gosh, I'm so happy to see you. Yeah, I'm happy to see you too. In the moonlight, his eyes glittered. While he did seem happy, he also seemed sort of sad. But why? Do you live around here? Huh? Oh, yeah, totally! I live with my 4 brothers at a cafe downtown. 4 brothers, huh? His tone seemed to imply something. Yeah. So, no one else? Or what about your parents? No, they don't live with us. Our family's a bit of a special case. See, my parents are both hunters. Whenever they're not traveling for work, they live in a house in the big city. They don't really come out to see us much. You must be rich. Upper middle class, I'd say, but that money has given us a lot of freedom. It's a privilege, and I'm grateful for it. I see. What about you, Prince? Where do you live? In a little cottage in the woods. That did not look like a little cottage. That was a giant house. So you must live nearby. The conversation ended abruptly. Just when we were finally getting the ball rolling, he grabbed it and tossed it in the trash. Hello? I peered at him curiously. Your family must love you a whole lot. What? Your brothers, I mean. Otherwise they wouldn't go out of their way to supervise you like this. His gaze seemed to peer straight through me, or, more accurately, straight over my shoulder into the distance. Huh? Looking over my shoulder, I spotted a sliver of red fabric peeking out from behind a tree. There was no doubt in my mind. It was red. I'll be right back, okay? Sure thing. With my prince's blessing, I strode over to where my brother was hiding. And then, brother dearest, pasting a smile onto my face, I called out to him in a low tone. It was my, what, pray tell, do you think you are doing voice? I can explain, Crouched low against the tree, he looked up at me and began to panic. It's kind of funny because the woods are dangerous, and he was like, I told you the woods were dangerous! And now we're the one that, he's like, okay. The upper hand switches so often in this. I started to feel guilty, like I was bullying him. I'm not mad at you. I knew you were tailing me. I continued in my usual tone of voice. What? You did? Sure, it was dark out, but it was hard not to hear someone following you when they were trampling on dead leaves. You followed me because you were worried for my safety, right? I appreciate it. Even in the dim moonlight, I could see his face flush red. No, I wasn't... Oh, Red, you're the cutest brother in the whole world. Tell him that and then give him a hug and watch him, like, fucking faint. So, wanna come with me? Smiling, I held out my hand. What? I mean, we already know you're here. You don't need to hide anymore. I'm sorry, but I can't. Because of reasons. The blood drained from his face, and he shook his head vigorously. I can't be around 2 beautiful girls that I want to touch inappropriately. One of them's a dude and one's your sister. Red, Jesus. Can't what? can't be around my prince? At this, he nodded. I'm sorry, but he terrifies me in a way I can't possibly explain. I don't want to go anywhere near him. It's because he thinks he's a girl. Wow, Red, you have some issues. Is it because he threw that book at you? He pursed his lips together. Evidently, the book attack was something of a traumatic event for him. I think it's because he associates Snow White being a girl. Although it's weird, because, well, again, so he's not exactly weird, afraid of us, but he's still a little awkward around. Okay, that's a little bit better than just like, dude, Red, sister is not a girl. Honestly, I couldn't really blame him, but it's okay, Red. He's not a wolf, and he's not going to bite. Now let's go. I grabbed him by the arm. Yeah! No screaming. I know I'm a girl, but I'm still your sister. Ditto is it gynophobia? Is that actually what it's called? Is that a thing? I mean, there's probably a fear of women. I wouldn't be, but is it really? Like your gynecologist? Your gynophobia? Oh my god, what? Anyway. Red was deeply uncomfortable with any physical contact from women. Okay, so exactly. That's fucking hilarious. Sorry it took so long. And he's totally afraid of Snow White because he thinks Snow White, even though Snow White is not a girl. Dragging Red by the arm, I saluted to my prince with my free hand. I feel like he would be a more masculine eek, but you know. As soon as the two of them made eye contact, Red shrieked and hid behind me. Sorry about this. Arisu. Yes, what is it? Oh, let's hold hands. What? Oh, no, that was Red Riding. What? What? Sure thing. I grasped his hand with both of mine. Your hands are warm. And yours is nice and cold. Sexual misconduct! Get away! But Snow White ignored my brother's paranoid screaming. Sexual misconduct. Hey, so, will you come back here again tomorrow night? Not habit. I absolutely 100% will. Rain or shine. Come hell or high water. I'll be here. Well, she says there, but I think you mean here, but... I shouted to drown out whatever my brother was trying to say. Cool. See you tomorrow, then. With an air of perfect composure, he let go of my hand and spun on his heel. Okay, see you tomorrow! And so my prince disappeared into the dark forest. As for me, I waved eagerly until he was out of sight. And then... Oh, sorry, Red. What were you going to say? Once we were alone, I checked in with him. Nothing. He pouted and looked away. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Show me what I want to see. Tell me what I want to hear. I'm just assuming when we do that, we're going into his part, so... I loved to read. My favorite books were literary works about people and events, be they real or imagined. In other words, I loved stories of all kinds. They say truth is stranger than fiction, but I didn't consider real life to be especially superior. Sure, it offered choices that books didn't, but books featured a narrowly constructed world that could handle the most outlandish of plot twists far more consistently than reality. Regardless of the outcome, I could shrug it off and say, that's just how the story goes. Thus, no matter what sort of emotional impact a book left on me at the end, it never truly mattered in the long run. Like a still lake, I would always regain my composure. And that emotional distance could make any tragedy beautiful. That day I was rereading an old book for the umpteenth time. I hadn't gotten my hands on anything new recently. Most of the stories in here were incomplete. The readers were waiting on the authors to continue their work, yet the rate of publication had taken a nosedive. To be more precise, they hadn't released a new volume in months. How many times had I read this story? Or this one? As much as I liked them, the more I read and reread them, the more I started to memorize all the details. Sitting on the floor, I grabbed a different book. Old, weathered volumes were scattered around everywhere. Some were my favorites, while others I didn't care for. If I had to reread something, I wanted it to be something I liked. Unfortunately, the one I grabbed turned out to be one of the boring ones. With a sigh, I slumped down onto my side. But just then, there was a knock at the door. I sat back up. Was he finally here? Come in? With my permission, the door opened. I lowered my gaze to the books to avoid making eye contact. Not like I didn't already know who it was. If it's the wizard, I'm going to be disappointed because we don't have a voice for him right now. His shoes entered the corner of my vision. Oh no, it's the huntsman. Hey there, Snow White. Oh, welcome back, huntsman. Who was our brother, but not our brother. I closed my book and greeted him. With his ash-gray hair and icy blue eyes, I found him flawlessly beautiful. For the record, though, his name was actually Ryoshi. That's why I like to call him Huntsman. It was a reference to his name's alternate meaning in Japanese. Here's another book I finished. As he spoke, he pulled a book from his bag. In my excitement, my voice rose up several more octaves than it normally would have. Oh, thank you! I already finished the books you brought me last time, so I was really bored. I took the book and looked down at the cover. The Ultimate Crossword Omnibus, from Beginner to Master. Oh, it's another stupid puzzle book. Have I ever mentioned what terrible taste you have? Try reading something fun for a change. Just like that, my excitement was snuffed out in an instant. He brought me a puzzle book last time around, too. I quickly deemed it boring. Of all the sad and depressing hobbies to have, he chose crossword puzzles. What a waste of flawless good looks. Puzzles were games, not books. Still fun, sure, but they weren't literature. And what I wanted, above all else, was a story. I kept trying to explain this to him, but he didn't seem to get it. I don't want a puzzle book, I want a reading book. And then instead of waiting for me to finish mine, how about you pick something out yourself? I don't mind buying it for you. Saves me the trouble of having to choose and read it. Meh, doesn't matter. I don't feel the need to read any one particular book. And then quit complaining. I'm not complaining, I'm just giving you my opinion. I tilted my head at him, and he scowled. We really need to do something about your lack of filter, otherwise you're going to cause problems. According to him, I had a caustic attitude. Personally, I thought caustic meant you were actively trying to hurt people. Surely I couldn't be caustic then, since I had no ill intent. And another thing, clean your damn room. Don't leave your stuff lying around everywhere. There's hardly any floor space left to walk. As he glanced around, he launched into another of his annoying lectures. Honestly, he was making a big deal out of nothing. All he really needed to do was kick stuff out of the way. All that matters to me is that I know where everything is. If it bothers you so much, why don't you tidy it up? He clicked his tongue and actually started to pick up the books. Only the most incurable busybody would go to all the trouble of cleaning someone else's room. And yet I found I couldn't quite bring myself to dislike him. Now that he had found a task for himself, there was nothing left for me to do but crack open my new book and start reading. Sure, it was a puzzle book with no story whatsoever, but it was still a book, and therefore I still wanted to read whatever text was in it. And that was my personal policy. Huntsman? After a few minutes, I called out to Ryoshi. Yeah, what is it? His tone was of annoyance as he continued tidying up the books. How many years has it been since you and I first met? He paused to think for a moment. At least 6, I think. It all started at the lake, right? Yeah, that's right. Found you sitting around on the lakeshore in the middle of the night and struck up a conversation. Lately, I've been going there to hang out with this one girl. Oh yeah? What's she like? She's an oddball. She seems ditzy at first glance, but she has hidden depths to her. You can never tell what she's thinking. If I were to describe her with a single color, it would be white. So she's pure and untainted? Yeah, she's as innocent as the driven snow, untouched by corruption. She can be dyed in any color or bleached any stain. Hers is a color unlike any other. Interesting. She does sound like snow. This was my initial impression of her, right from the moment we first met. Why you quit giggling like a weirdo first thing in the morning? Cinderella rolled his eyes at me. I miss Cinderella. I like doing his voice. It's fun. Say whatever you want about me, for I am a saint, and I shall forgive you. With that, I popped a bite of the French toast into my mouth. The sweet bread was totemo oishi, delicious. Totemo is very delicious, so that's wrong. It's very delicious. Thank you very much. You've been in a rather good mood lately, Poppet. Let's put that spring in your step. Oh, you'll never believe it! But just as I was about to tell him about my prince, I realized Gretel was still at the table with us. I mean, it's nothing. My spirits instantly deflated. Phew, that was close. If Gretel finds out about my rendezvous with Prince Charming, who knows what he'll do? What are you hiding? Ooh! Every time you get that sickening little half-baked smile on your face, I know you're up to no good. Wait, don't tell me! Does this have something to do with your Prince Charming? Oh, baby brother, if only you weren't so sharp. No, really, it's nothing. I haven't seen him since then. I haven't even seen him since then. I lied with a straight face. Then I glanced at Red, who averted his eyes. To be fair, I'd already warned him not to tell anyone else about my plans with Snow White, but that didn't guarantee he would keep his word. Anyway, these donut bites sure are great, just like everything else you make. If I was going to change the subject, I'd have to start by buttering them up like a biscuit. As part of today's breakfast, Gretel had made a towering stack of donut bites. I know, right? Fortunately, his love of sweets remained his biggest weakness. And they're so cute, too! You can say that again. Kaguya took the hint and chimed in. I always imagined donut bites as golden brown. Didn't realize you could make them in all sorts of colors and add little decorations. Indeed, Gretel's donut bites came in a variety of cute pastel colors, like pink, blue, and green, with star-shaped sprinkles on top. Those sound so fucking adorable and I want some. Of course you can. You can drizzle them with strawberry syrup or dust them with cocoa powder. When you're working with plain donuts, the possibilities are endless. Wow, that sounds fun. Maybe I'll give it a try myself sometime. And if they turn out good, maybe I'll bring them as an offering, a gift for my prince. Guys, really? Couldn't you have picked a more wintry dessert, like gingerbread cookies or something? So what if they're not seasonal? People enjoy donuts all year round. Maybe, but our customers are the type who like limited edition crap. Well, these are for me, not them. Obviously, I'd make something more seasonal if it was for the cafe. Says the guy who believes eating snow cones in winter is a luxury. Wintry, huh? Admittedly, Cinderella had a point. Our customers weren't going to be interested in donut bites. What else could we offer them instead? Just then, a fun idea crossed my mind. Now that might be interesting. What's with a little smirk? You're creeping me out. Yoink! Hey! As revenge for his mean comment, I reached over and stole one of his donut bites. What happened to I'll forgive you? That's what you get! I popped the donut into my mouth and pouted. I guess her sainthood was short-lived then. So yeah, I made a whole bunch and brought it with me. Feel free to try some. Pass. That night I arrived at the lake and offered Prince Charming my gift, which he staunchly refused. What do you mean, pass? Reflexively, I looked over at Red. Rest assured, she is a very good cook. On cue, he vouched for my skills. So what? But Snow White's utterly uninterested response stabbed me in the heart. Couldn't you at least try? No, I couldn't. He shot us down without hesitation. Let's not push our luck, Spacey. Red looked at me with sympathy in his eyes. But I refused to back down. Instead, I summoned all my courage and quick thinking. Then how about a warm drink? No thanks. Just like that, all my courage and quick thinking was decimated in an instant. Thermos in hand, I looked at my brother. Want some, Red? If you'd be so kind. He answered with a resigned nod. Steam rose into the air as I poured the hot liquid into a to-go cup. The sweet fragrance filled me with indescribable happiness. What is that? Just a little something I invented. I call it hot fruit punch. Hot fruit punch? Even Red looked perplexed. I know the word fruit punch makes it sound like a soda, but the punch part is made from 5 ingredients: water, sugar, rice wine, lime juice, and spiced tea. Add fruit and you get fruit punch. So from there, I improvised to create a warm version. And what are these snowflake things floating in it? Oh, I made those with gelatin. Normally gelatin is clear, but when you add color to it and pour it into a mold, you can make whatever shapes you want. And you can use fruit juice to flavor them too. I repeated everything Gretel had ever taught me about gelatin in a single breath. Why snowflakes? Because they're cute? No way on earth was I going to admit that it was a reference to his name, so instead I came up with a more tame reason. Snowflakes. For Snow White. Did you make these for me? Well, yeah. I couldn't hide it anymore. I mean, it's cold out here, you know? So I wanted to warm you up somehow. As I spoke, I thought back to the first time I touched his ice-cold hand. I see. Evidently, he had taken an interest in the gelatin shapes. He scooped one up and jiggled it around on his spoon. You can have one if you like. Pass. Does he think I poisoned them or something? It's very cute, though. He smiled slightly. And then out of nowhere... CG! Open your mouth, Artisu. Huh? Open your mouth. He repeated his request more firmly. Then he held up the spoon with a little snowflake resting on it. Wait, is he going to... Say ah. Ah? I opened my mouth and he popped the gelatin inside. How is it? Tasty. I had flavored the shapes with apple juice, which paired nicely with the rest of the punch. Cool. You can have one too. I don't want any. Here, open your mouth. Opening my mouth again, I let him feed me another snowflake. I'm wondering if, like, because Snow White poisoned apple, so it's like, don't eat anything, or were you poisoned once before, or like, you know? How's business at the cafe? We're doing pretty good. I swallowed my mouthful of gelatin, or he really is a ghost. We don't know. Like, did you want to swing by sometime? You're always welcome. Itsudemo. Itsudemo? Daikange? Daikange? Is that what it is? Itsudemo. Daikange? You're always welcome? I don't know that. I'm just guessing. I'm trying. No thanks. When he mentioned the cafe, I took that to mean he was interested in visiting. So I invited him out of courtesy, only to be shot down. Here, say ah. I happily opened wide as requested. As for what happened next, well... I'm so full. I clutched my belly as we walked. Are you surprised, given how much you ate? It wasn't my fault! He looked so cute when he was feeding me. How could I possibly tell him to stop? I made enough for you to have some too, but then I ended up eating it all. Sorry, Red. Oh no, I don't mind. In the end, I polished off all the fruit punch. I just wish you would have tried some. Maybe it was my fault for making it for him without asking, but I was still a little disappointed. Maybe he's not comfortable with home-cooked food? Obviously, I kept things clean and sanitized, but he had no way of knowing that, so I could understand if he preferred to stick to store-bought food. Hold on. I just got like a weird dry spot in my throat, you know, kind of like, oh, I'm going to choke to death now? Making my eyes water. Maybe it was a little premature of me to start making food for him. Are you sure about that? He seemed happy to me, at least. Did he? He did indeed. That and he called you cute. What? No, he was calling the punch itself cute. Wait, what? I was under the impression that he was saying you were cute for making it. Spacey? I stopped short. Red looked back at me, frowning. I I never thought of that. It was a viable theory. But still, you'd think he'd at least try one. Or maybe he wasn't hungry. Or maybe he just doesn't like food. That's impossible! Think of all the wonderful things this world has to offer, right? Which is why my ass is fat. Steak, quiche, ratatouille, salsa, stew, rice, bread, not to mention a whole world of desserts from all over the globe. How could anyone possibly dislike all of it? I ranted and raved like a woman crazed. I guess he just does. Red shrugged calmly. I can't believe this. I was just speechless. Given his petite stature, I can't really imagine him having a large appetite anyway. Maybe he has acid reflux. I mean, most of the big eaters I know are skinny anyway. I'd say the chances of that are very slim. Yeah, besides, I guess you can't really picture my prince getting fat. I can't really picture my prince getting fat. And yet, as soon as the words left my lips, their impact sank in. Fat? Prince? The words didn't even go together. That's skinniest? Fattest? Whatever. That's rude. Can you picture a fat Snow White? Actually, yes, quite easily is the right answer. That's the best part. I'm so hungry. I love carbs. Curry is a drink. Pizza is a vegetable. And meat is a vitamin. We'll leave the rest to your imagination. How do you feel about fat Snow White? Heck yeah! On second thought, I love it! I pumped my fist. Who cares about a little chub? Not me. If anything, it's super cute. I like... thank you for going here, game. Take seals and pandas, for example. They got plenty of padding, but they're still adorable. So the same goes for my prince. Anyway! I shook away the image in my mind. Things didn't work out this time around, but I just have to keep trying. Just don't overdo it, please. Alright, we're a little under time, but since we're going to a cutscene here, I'm going to stop here. Even though we could probably read through his thing, but we'll just stop here. Plus, technically, we have to create a save file here anyway. At least before the next choice, but I'll probably make the save file at the choice so it's easier to find. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.